All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Tinubu commiserates with India over fatal plane crash. Now, in a rather tragic and regrettable end, this London-bound 171-passenger aircraft crashed, killing all but one passenger. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. But they say charity begins at home. This Indian plane crashed on Thursday, the 12th of June, the so-called Democracy Day, and in less than 24 hours, Tinubu offered his condolence message to them. But this same Tinubu will never act like this in Nigeria. With all the outcry from civil societies and stakeholders, Tinubu has hitherto refused to visit Benue and Plateau. But if ECOWAS alludes to visiting India today, he will be on the next flight. What a shame. A government that is only interested in touring the world and impoverishing Nigerians. 2 years in office, nothing to point to as an achievement, just lies and propaganda. That is why May 29, the day Tinubu completed 2 years in office, all we saw was lies from the government to the people and curses from the people to the government, an embarrassing exchange of propaganda and invectives. June 12th, the so-called Democracy Day, was the same thing. Government lying to the people and the people cursing the government. And few hours ago, the European Union decided to humiliate Tinubu, and they chose Democracy Week of all weeks to do so. The European Union must have done this to rubbish Tinubu's speech on Nigerians reaping the dividends of democracy. When I saw this move made by the EU on Tinubu and Nigeria on Democracy Week, I almost shed tears. And concurrently, Governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, came under fire after his own June 12 speech. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you these videos. The first video here shows Professor Atairu Jega, former INEC chairman, calling for electronic transfer of election results. See the video.
Election management bodies or electoral commissions, which are independent, impartial, and prepare for and conduct elections with integrity, are necessary institutions at the core of desirable and sustainable democratic development and, of course, good democratic governance. In Nigeria, INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and CX, the State Independent Electoral Commissions, which prepare for and conduct elections at the federal and state levels respectively, are persistently bedeviled by many challenges, which in spite of strenuous reform efforts to address, continue to undermine and or question the integrity and credibility of elections. More reforms are required to further strengthen the independence and the role of EMBs in Nigeria to engender the quest for free, fair, and credible elections. In this regard, the following additional reform measures are necessary and desirable and should be given urgent attention. 1. There is need for increase in the use of technology in elections for transparency and accountability. For example, there is also the need to improve upon the provisions of Electoral Act 2022 to make electronic transmission of results mandatory. 2, there is need to ensure transparent testing of electoral technologies.
You heard that. Former INEC chairman Jega calling for electronic transfer of results. He said it should be mandatory. Now, some Nigerians were quick to throw away Jega's suggestion and they began attacking his person. Some said, why didn't he do it when he was in office? Others said he rigged for Buhari. That is not the point now. The point is that a prominent Nigerian is talking about an initiative, a policy, a law that can make our electoral system transparent, a law that can make someone like Peter Obi win an election. So patriotic Nigerians should embrace it. They should embrace this discussion instead of trying to shut it down. If you watch that video well, you will realize that when he mentioned mandatory transfer of results, there was light applause from the crowd, but he resumed talking immediately. That was why they stopped clapping. If he had given them chance, there would have been massive applause in that hall. That tells you that the fight for electoral reform, bordering on the transfer of election results from polling unit to the IREV, is one that many Nigerians will be willing to join. But they need prominent people to begin the call for it. They need prominent people to send the bill to National Assembly and let the pressure begin. And reacting to that, engineer Cock here says, this is what the so-called opposition should be spending their energy on. Some clear legal backing on election matters. Block all the exit loopholes of the riggers. That is it. Don't tell me that it will not work. Try it first. If you are not going to try something that will stop the rigging, then why are we even talking about opposition in the first place? The next video here is a video that had this stakeholder insinuating that our so-called democracy is better than the military takeover in neighboring Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso. See the video.
I think we must all appreciate the fact that we are governed by, democratic norms, principles, and practices.
All right.
Whether we're getting it right,
yeah,
is another thing. But it's better that we go this way than think about what is happening in our neighboring countries as a yardstick.
You heard that. Now, I've heard some other people say this same thing, that the so-called democracy we have in Nigeria is better than the military takeover in places like Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, and the rest. Now, there are two reasons why anybody would say that. Number one, lack of information on what is happening in those countries where military is in charge. Number two, pure mischief. If you lack the information, then let me tell you this. Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, Chad are undergoing rapid revolution in their countries as we speak. Economic revolution, health revolution, all manner of transformation going on in those countries. Let us take insecurity, for instance. The president of Chad, he said he was going to pull out of the joint task force that they have with Nigeria to fight insurgency around the Sahel. He said because Nigeria is not serious. How many of his soldiers did they kill? 4 soldiers. They killed 4 soldiers and he went berserk. He threatened to pull out. He said it was Nigeria that gave the intel to Boko Haram. What is the difference between such a man and Tinubu? The difference is like heaven and earth. Lost 4 soldiers, became very angry. But this one is losing soldiers every day. He doesn't even care. He's not even giving them bullets to fight. That tells you the gulf, the standard, and in the quality of leadership. Then, will you compare Burkina Faso's Traore to Tinubu? Who can even imagine something like that? You can't compare the standard of leadership in these other African countries to what we have here in Nigeria, especially under the APC. And that is why I keep saying, if Nigeria does not kill the APC will kill Nigeria. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that June 12th speech from Governor Soludo that drew heavy criticism from Nigerians. And next is that updates from European Union humiliating Tinubu and Nigeria in this democracy week. Let's start by taking that update from Charles Soludo. Look at how the papers reported it. Tinubu's audacious reforms rescued Nigeria's economy from tipping point. Soludo, speaking at the platform, a special Democracy Day edition organized by the Covenant Nation in the Igomu area of Lagos State on Thursday, the former central bank governor lauded this administration's bold economic decisions, which he said have stabilized a dangerously deteriorating economy. I would disappoint many who would expect me to comment harshly on the economy or offer yet another blueprint for economic reforms. I'm not shy to say this. The audacious structural reforms embarked upon by the current administration of Bola Tinubu have rescued the economy from the tipping point, Soludo stated. You heard that. Now, to start with, Charles Soludo was part of Buhari's Economic Advisory Council. Look at this. Buhari appoints Soludo, Salami, Sagagi, others on Economic Advisory Council. So why did you not advise Buhari to remove subsidy and float the naira, since you know that they are good policies? And secondly, don't allow anybody to gaslight you to say that Tinubu saved the economy with his policies. The first thing I need to establish here is that the man has actually destroyed the economy, because SMEs are the backbone of any economy, and over 8 million SMEs have collapsed in Tinubu's 2 years. Secondly, production. That is another backbone of economy. Our GDP has dropped. We were number 3 before Tinubu came into office. Now we are around number 6 or 7 in Africa. So production has dropped grossly because people can no longer afford the price of energy, petrol. So what is Charles Soludo talking about? The reason why Soludo is praising Tinubu now is because the subsidy removal saving is shared amongst governors, House of Rep members, senators, and then Tinubu pockets about 50% of the money. That is why he is praising him. How has the economy improved, for God's sake? And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the European Union humiliating Tinubu and the entire country began making the rounds. The European Union is talking about helping Nigeria to fight malnutrition urgently. But when you hear the figure, the amount they quoted to fight malnutrition, you will know that this is not an intervention. This is clear mockery. Mockery of a man who claims to be delivering the dividends of democracy to his people. Look at how the papers reported it. European Union earmarks 900 million naira to fight malnutrition in northern Nigeria. The European Union has allocated 900 million naira to help fight malnutrition in some states in northern Nigeria. The European Union made the commitment on Friday in a statement by Modestus Chukwualaka, the spokesperson for its embassy in Abuja. Mr. Chukwualaka listed the states as Adamawa, Borno, Taraba, Yobe, Benue, Katsina, Niger, Sokoto, and Zamfara. He said the gesture was in response to the alarming level of malnutrition cases in the region. Mr. Chukwualaka said the fund would enable the Nigerian Red Cross Society to assist approximately 170,000 households affected by or at risk of malnutrition in the affected states and the other parts of the country. He said Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states in the northeast and Katsina, Sokoto and Zamfara states in the northwest had an estimated 5.44 million children under 5 who are acutely malnourished. According to him, 2 million children require life-saving treatment as a result of severe acute malnutrition. He said malnutrition was worsening as a result of conflict and growing insecurity. This is pure mockery of the man who claims to be in power. Pure mockery of the man in Aso Rock. 900 million naira. That is less than $600,000. A large amount of money, of course, that can do a lot to fight malnutrition in those regions listed. But you and I know that if the European Union is going to intervene, and they really mean to intervene in this issue of malnutrition in those regions, they will be talking about millions of dollars. I believe strongly that they put this 900 million naira out to shut Aso Rock up, to tell them that your people are dying of hunger and malnutrition all those lies that you are telling all around the globe, that they are enjoying dividends of democracy, that your economic policies have turned the corner, are lies from the pit of hell. If all those things have actually happened, why is 900 million naira being brought to states in the northwest and northeast to try to save the lives of millions of children? What are you looking at that it is European Union that will come and save millions of children for you in Nigeria? It is an absolute shame on this government, and I am glad that the European Union brought this up at this time to counter all the lies that Tinubu told in his speech. The same thing that Financial Times did on May 29, after they lied that Tinubu's policies are working, a lot of things have changed in Nigeria. Financial Times came out and read out all the disadvantages of the things that he has done, not including even one advantage. But I know, even as the EU has shown us clearly that we have done nothing as a people to save the problems of malnutrition in northern Nigeria, this administration will still not do anything about it. Why? Because this is the APC. They are happy with it. This is what they actually came for: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why I keep telling Nigerians that if we desire to have a country at all in the near future, we must come together, put our differences aside, unite, and get rid of the APC. But until then, make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because now, because of una, na I dey here. So don't go away, don't go.